Hello friends, this is the part 1 of the 4-part series of order-based planning with flexible master data. So as a part of this video, I am going to show you the basic setup and configurations needed to set up and the mandatory master data that are needed to set up and run the order-based planning with flexible master data. As we know that the concept of stable master data is a new concept, but this flexible master data has provided, ironically, with a lot of flexibility similar to like time series planning, wherein we can update, modify, and even customize master data based on our requirement, which can be used and leveraged directly for supplier response planning or order-based planning. So to start off, I have created a planning area which is nothing but a copy of the standard SAP 7F planning area that has been released as a sample planning area for order-based planning with flexible master data. So based on this, I have copied and created this created this planning area, and I have already activated it. So at this point of time, if you see, the order-based planning area is active. One thing that we need to remember is, for OBP with flexible master data, this integration profile doesn't play any role. This is very, very specific for OBP with SDI, but for flexible master data, it will always be this integration model, which is a system provided model called conf MDSAP. So here there is nothing that we need to change. Now, once we have copied the SAP S7F planning area and have activated it, the first and foremost thing that we need to do is to complete the required setting for order-based planning. So if I go in order-based planning configuration, so under basic settings for order-based planning, so if you see here, primarily, this is where I will do my required setup. For example, whether I want to use the transportation lane master data or not, based on that, we have this option to toggle this on or off. If my order-based planning scenario consists of customer or sales orders, then I need to primarily assign the sales order fields here. And since in this demo, I have configured it in such a way so that I get forecast at a customer level, hence I have mapped the required field. So this Kannur is a standard field in ECC or S4HANA, which I have mapped to the ID cust ID, which is the root attribute of customers. Then the next stage is planning level for transportation group planning. So if you are doing group planning or group filtering for transportation or transportation lane, we need to specify a planning level at which we want to do it. So there are quite a number of planning level that comes with the standard SAP 7F. So either you can choose this day T lane or day T lane resource for planning with transportation group filtering if you wish to do so. For the purpose of this video and for this demo, I have selected T lane resource level. Now, the next part is very important, which is the version specific settings. Although when you will copy it from 7F, most of this will be copied from the source planning area. But if you want to do any changes or to input some other key figures for assigning, then you can do it here. So primarily, if you see, there are certain sections like general, adjusted quantities based on transportation lane, adjusted quantities based on productions, and you have your stock related section, optimizer cost related section, and quota related key figure section. So primarily, most of the cases we do planning in day. So the unit of planning for all these sections I have updated this day, and based on that, most of this data was copied because it is a standard copy of SAP 7F. But if I want to input some other key figure instead of the standard key figure, I have the option to do so. So once we do this, then here at the end, I also need to update what would be the forecast key figures. So for this purpose, the forecast unconstrained is the key figure that I have selected. So the system will understand whatever number exists in this key figure is the forecast key figures. We even have the option to use multiple forecast key figures by enabling it, wherein there will be number of fields enabled wherein you can put different forecast key figure for that. Now once this is done, then the next step that comes is we have done the basic settings for the order-based planning. Then the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a planning level, because based on this planning level, I need to define my forecast consumption, my product allocation if I want to. So for that purpose, creating a OBP planning level is very important. So if you see here, I have created two OBP planning levels. One is prod log and the other is prod log cost. Since I wanted to configure this demo based on customer forecast, customer sales orders, so hence I have created this planning level where we have product, location and customer as root. And this will be the planning level that will be used going further. If I don't want customers, then I could have easily selected this day prod log, and I could have the forecast key figure not at the customer level, but more at a product location level. Once my OBP planning level is basically created, the first and foremost thing is that we need to keep in mind is once I generate the planning level, I need to go and activate it. For that purpose, we need to go application jobs, create, and here there are many OBP related application job templates that we need to use as and when required. The first part of it, as I was telling you, we have created a planning level. So we have to go and activate that planning level. For that, we need to select this job template, and based on what we created, we need to select the appropriate planning level and schedule it. And once the job is completed, that OBP planning level is primarily active. After the activation is done, then the next step for me is to create forecast consumption and product allocation if I am planning to have product allocation as a part of the planning. So in forecast consumption, if you see, I have created one forecast consumption wherein I said this is the name of the profile, and the OBP planning level for forecast consumption will be day prod log cost, which I have created, and the period type is day. You even have the option to select different period type based on the requirements. After the forecast consumption profile has been created, the next thing that I am creating is the product allocation profile. It's a similar for how we have created for forecast consumption. Here we define the profile name, description, the level at which the forecast consumption of for a product allocation needs to happen, along with the period type. After this forecast consumption and product allocation profiles have been created, the next that I should create is source of supply selection profiles, or this is also called the PDS selection profiles. So in PDS production profile, whatever we have, that's what I'm going to show you here. Primarily, here we define what kind of SOS profile it is. So by default, you have two profile types. One is quota and the other is priority or alternate. If we are running OBP optimizer, then we should always select quota because optimizer doesn't respect priority or alternates. Whereas if we are planning to run finite heuristics, then finite heuristic takes both priority, alternate, and quota into account. Since for this demo, I'm planning to run the finite heuristic, so here I have selected the priority. And in this selection mode, if you see, I have selected the SOS priority, SOS as 0, that the system will start selecting any PDS that has the priority from 0 onwards. And I have the option to either select priority or alternating. So what is priority and what is alternating mode is something that I will come in the next part of those videos because those are separate deep dive areas. But at this point of time, to keep it simple, I have created the selection mode as priority so that if there are multi PDS scenario, the system will pick the PDS based on the priority that we maintain. So at this point of time, we have completed the basic setups. We have created the forecast consumption profile, the allocation profile, and the source of supply profiles. Now, once it is done, for me, the next step is I need to go and activate some of the profiles. Now, similarly, as I was showing you before in application job templates, we have multiple order-based planning or OBP related jobs. And the second job that I was talking about is activating allocation profile because we have created an allocation profile here. So after we select the activate allocation profiles and schedule that job, once that is done, then your activation allocation profile is activated as well. For forecast consumption or for PDS, there is no such requirement of activating those because they are auto activated once we create them. Now with this done, now we will move on to master data maintenance. As I was telling you that flexible master data is indeed very flexible. So in this master data sheet, if you see, it looks pretty much like my time series based master data sheet, wherein I can see my root attributes, the mandatory attributes, so on and so forth. But here, there are a few things that we need to understand because this master data structure is quite different in terms of the structure and modeling that we have seen in time series based planning. So first and foremost, few things that we need to understand is until and unless in flexible master data, we set up the RTI profile with a proper source system and integrate that source system, there are few things that I cannot customize. For example, is unit of measurement and UOM conversion. Since this is a demo and I haven't integrated this planning area with any source system, hence whatever standard UOMs are there, those are the UOM that I can basically select. If there is any custom UOM that I need to create, I cannot directly create it here. I have to basically create it in the source system and then sift it back to IBP. The same applies for calendar. But KG, EHS, these are standard UOM that are already part of the pre-configured solution. Hence, I am only using KGs and EHS for this purpose of demo. So product, locations, these are the simple master data types. Now, one thing that we need to understand from location is in the location type is a very important field. It is a root as well. And whatever is my plant type, whether it is a production plant, storage plant, that I can input here, along with the appropriate calendar if I want to do the planning, if I want the planning based on the production calendar to happen at this location. So this is about the locations. Now coming to, even before going there, there is one basic setup which is very important is we have to define the demand types. So demand type is a master data in flexible planning wherein we create different demand types and assign those here in this master data. So this in turn gets integrated as demand type, order types in S4 once we do the proper integration with the source system. So if you see here, I have certain demand types, and based on that, I have the appropriate IDs as well. So this is a part of the standard 7F, and I haven't created any custom one, but here we have the flexibility to create custom order type or demand type, and using RTI baddies, we can integrate them with the source S4 HANA systems. Now, moving on. Very important master data type is location product. Yeah, although we are maintaining location product here, wherein location and product are the key. But that said, you need to understand there are few other fields which are very important. Without that, we cannot take a planning run in OBP. And what are those? Primarily, I have to assign forecast consumption profile to the appropriate product location combination. So if you see the forecast consumption profile that I created, the same is what I have assigned it here, except this one, because this is a vendor. This is a vendor, and in vendor type, I cannot have forecast consumption. So the forecast consumption type is blank here. Then the next important is the procurement type. So procurement type, we all know, P stands for in-house, S stands for external procurement, X for both. So this is required to be maintained. And just beside that, you have your product allocation profile. So here, the product allocation profile that I have created and activated is what I have maintained. Again, this is a vendor combination, hence I don't need it. Then the next important part is assigning the SOS profile. I have shown you before that we have created the PDS profile or SOS selection profile, and that's what I have assigned it here. Subnetwork is not a mandatory thing in OBP, but you can still maintain it if you want to run based on subnetworks. So once this is done, next I will focus on the resource, because we will have PDS and transportation lane coming up. So here, if you see, I have created few resources, out of which these three are production resource, and this is a transportation resource. And they are primarily distinguished by the resource type. 3 stands for transport, 0 stands for production. And each having their respective capacity unit or unit of measure. And in this resource master itself, we have to assign the location to which they belong. For example, these are the production resource. So this has assigned to a particular location. But the first one is a transportation resource. So a transportation resource we cannot straight away add to any location. So that is why it has to be kept blank. Transportation resource gets assigned at a transportation lane level that I will show you. So after you configure this, you are done with your resource, and then I will move on to the next important part, which is your production data structure or PDS. So, OBP flexible master data, there are 4 types of PDS related master data. The first part is the PDS header, which primarily tells me the location, product, the production version, my finished product output coefficient, along with a validity range. And apart from that, I also have to maintain PDS priority. These are generally something that comes with SAFE, but since this is a demo, I have manually maintained it here. Along with that, you can basically maintain your lot size, rounding value, whatever you need. So this is a PDS header. The next is the PDS activity or operation types. So if you see here, we have activities, We have sequence number, and we can also input activity durations, how much each activity can take, etc. so on. Again, if you see activity at supplier, earlier in SDI, we didn't have the flexibility to straight away model supplier in OBP and basically create supplier constraint over there. All we can do is we had a key figure wherein we can put some maximum constraint. But here, if you see, we are able to create PDS not only for production location but also for vendors or subcontractor. So flexible master data provide us the ability to configure and map subcon scenarios as well, wherein I will have a PDS without any resource, without any work centers, and I can model it similar to what we can do today in APO, wherein we shift subcon PDS and we do subcontracting planning. The third part of the PDS related master data is the component part. Here I define the location, the component ID, the finished product that I need to basically give, and what will be my component needed for each of these finished product. So along with the validity date. So if you see here, these three products are kind of finished goods where my component product is 87. And in order to produce this 87, I also have a component dependency which is 159. So this is what we maintain in the component PDS component related master data. And the fourth one is the capacity related master data, or basically my capacity consumptions. Here we have to define the location product and the resource. This is where the resource get assigned to the PDS with a particular capacity consumption rate. One thing to notice here is, if you see, I have not only mapped locations as manufacturing location, but subcontracting location as well. So that's the level of flexibility wherein I can model resource inside supplier and create constraints. Now, once this PDS part is done, the next important part is my transportation lane. So whether it is external procurement relationship or PIR, all this will be coming in as transportation lane in order-based planning flexible master data. So if you see here, we have transportation lane ID from two locations, mode of transport, product, and a validity of the transportation lane. And along with that, there are multiple fields like lot size, calendar, wherein I can map shipping calendars here, purchase organization, lead time, GR time. So all these are standards that will be coming and getting updated from basically my source system S/4HANA. Once I created this transportation lane, then I create another master data called transportation lane resource. That's where I assign a transportation resource to a transportation lane. So this is here that assignment is, and that's how this resource get assigned and gets treated as a transportation resource for generating STOs or stock transfer requests from the vendor to the destination location, or from both two internal locations as well. And last but not the least, but very important, we all know the importance of conversion factor in time series planning. The equivalent of conversion in flexible master data is alternate UOM. The technical name of this master data is product unit. So here, similar to UOM conversion, we basically create target UOMs using a conversion denominator and numerator. So this denominator, numerator, how it works, you can refer to the SAP guidelines. It is a simple mathematics of how the denominator is going to work, how the numerator is going to work. Generally, for the base UOM, both is 1, 1, whereas for if we are converting, we use the denominator and the numerator to generate different conversion factors. So after we have done all this, at this point of time, we can say that we are done with the basic setup of order-based planning. So these are the minimum things that we need to set up and maintain, both in terms of configuration and master data maintenance, in order to set up and run a basic order-based planning run or a scenario. So this is what I intended to cover as the first part of this series. In the coming parts, I will basically come up with different aspects like setting up planning profile runs, taking run with optimizer, with infinite heuristics, and how we can see constraint and other stuffs. Thank you, and thanks a lot for your time.